Okay, so this evening we are going to be diving into five of the most powerful divine healing charts that I love to work on with clients and with myself when they come up. Because in a divine healing session, we are never in control and we're always guided as to what needs releasing in the moment for your greatest good. Imagine yourself like an onion and you have many layers. We don't always get to the deep, heavy core stuff. We have to go layers, layer by layer down. And if you're new here and you're not familiar with divine healing, it's a form of emotional and energetic healing that is very powerful and divinely guided. And the way it works is that we are in a session brought to a chart, and I have lots of different charts. I have my whole folder here with them all. There's 5 levels of divine healing, and I've got 4 of them, these bad boys here. We're guided to a chart, and there is a process, a protocol we do for whatever that chart is, and each chart has a different theme. So sessions are super intriguing. They never go to where you think they're going to go, and that is the beauty of it. But they always hit the nail on the head, which is why divine healing is my deepest joy. And if you're new here, my name is Antonia, and I love to help people gain deeper levels of self-awareness so they can come into a more harmonious and grounded relationship with themselves. And what that means is when you know yourself, you can step more into command in your life. Like, I know what that program is. I know why I'm behaving like that. I know why I'm reacting instead of responding. And that is power. And divine healing is deeply empowering. And what happens in a session is that you're lying down, you have your eyes closed, an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and we are taken on a journey through the different layers of programming that are ready to be released or ready to be integrated in. Because healing work is not always about letting go, it's also about learning to embrace and accept who we truly are, even the darkest parts of us that we feel shame around, so we can come into more fullness and wholeness of who we are. And that is what my work is all about, coming home to yourself and feeling at home in who you are. A big lifelong mission for me, and I'm sure many others. So what I wanted to do was I've done videos about my favorite charts in divine healing before, but I want to go to the 5 deepest charts, the ones that don't come up very often, but they're very powerful and joyful and exciting for me when they do show up, not just for clients, but I do a lot of this work on myself to keep releasing the layers. So the first one we're going to look at is a chart called Human Givens. And this is a chart that came up with a client very recently. And I was really surprised because we were doing a session focused on abundance. Now, a lot of us, we want to find love and we want to find money. And often there is a much deeper need underneath those things. We crave love because we want to feel accepted and worthy of it. We crave money because we want to feel safe and secure with it. So underneath everything that we want and desire, there is a deeper emotional need, which is when the chart Human Givens comes up. And this is basically a list of the different needs, and they're very primal, instinctive needs we have within us that we are desperate to have met, and often they are not met. Probably most likely in childhood, for example, the need for autonomy, the need for security, the need to be recognized, the need for intimacy and friendship, the need for community, for competence, for achievement, for success. And they're much more than the surface level of what they sound like. There's different themes within each one. And so often we're not conscious of a lot of the programming that lives within us. And when I say programming, imagine yourself like a ship on the ocean. and you're sailing, and there's big storms and waves, and there's sharks, and there's tankers rolling by, and you're like, whoa, this ocean is wild. And I'm like, it is wild, because underneath your boat, you have these huge, strong currents that are actually pushing you through life. And those currents live in our subconscious, and they are the programming. And it could be a program around not feeling worthy, which creates a self-sabotage, which creates shame, which then creates a lower self-worth. Everything is linked and hooked into everything else. So divine healing is multi-layered, multifaceted, can't speak today, multi-layered, multifaceted, and like any kind of healing, is all linked in together. Nothing works in isolation. We are so vastly complex in a good way, as well as a more challenging way. We are multidimensional. Divine healing is a multidimensional healing. We are not just working in this lifetime, we are working across all lifetimes. And often the soul carries imprints of past lives in other realities, other dimensions, that are having a really big effect on your life now. And again, that is another thing that we really need to get to the root of in divine healing. So one of the most powerful charts is human givens, recognizing what in the unconscious is a need that hasn't been met within you, understanding how you coped without that need being met. And then we go through the feeling, because divine healing and all healing is somatic. It needs to be felt in order to be released. And often we stay on the mental level of our minds. We're actually here to ground into the physical, because the physical is everything. The mind just makes us forget and says, I'm in control. Well, not really. So the next one we're going to go into, and again, this doesn't come up very often, Karmic Monads. Karmic Monads are like a key relationship that we have with someone or many people over a lifetime, but normally it's just a few or one. And it can be really detrimental. Almost like the soul wants to play out a game, and it looks for someone to fit into its lock, like a key in a lock. And together, this dynamic plays out between two different people. For example, independent and dependent. Someone in the dynamic is very independent and the other one is very dependent. And you can play both roles. Or you could be artist and patron. That's a good one. You could be hopelessly loved or hopelessly loving, innocent and sophisticate. They're really, really unique and they're not going to resonate with you unless it is one that has come up for you in the session. And we go on a journey to explore, how does this monad play out? Who are you playing it with? And what awareness is this bringing up for you? And I tell you what, when I release one of these, and I've only released one because this chart does not come up very often, it's very strong, it absolutely affected a very close relationship of mine, which it was related to the point where it wobbled almost off the edge of a cliff before coming back. So this chart is not to be underestimated. It changes things, because once you release the karmic monad, which is like a cord with this other person, your contract with them ends. It's not like a soul contract. That's a completely different thing. But it is a contract almost on a soul level, or a connection or a cord on a soul level, not a contract. So yeah, pretty punchy, this one. Rolling on to, now this is one of my favorites, and I will want this to come up for everyone. Although I do not choose, and I'm not in control of the session. I get guided as to what chart we get to do, but I don't pick it myself. This chart is called Realizing Gifts and Talents. And it is so beautiful, because in healing, we're often forced to confront things that we find unappealing about ourselves, and where we hold judgment and shame and lack of acceptance. But this chart is called Realizing Gifts and Talents. And there's a whole list of different talents within here. And we tune into the one for you. I mean, I tune into it, I find it, I tell you it, and you resonate with it. And we go on this beautiful guided meditation with it to bring it up and out into your energy fields. Because often we do not recognize and embrace our goodness. We're only, especially if you're on the healing journey, we're always looking for what we're doing wrong, what we need to improve, what we need to get better at doing. Realizing gifts and talents is a chart that comes up to help you remember that you also grow from recognizing the good that is inherent within you. And it could be a talent of compassion, it could be a talent of intelligence, or a gift of laughter, or a gift of sensitivity or sincerity. It's a very, very beautiful chart and one of my favorites. Okay, let's go into shadow energies. Now, shadow energies does not come up very often. I think that's the theme with all of these because they're very deep. Shadow energies is a chart that comes up when we sufficiently accept ourselves so that we have enough worthiness and love and compassion for ourselves that we can look into the mirror at the shadow energy within us and embrace it. Because we are not here to let go and lose and become separate from the parts of us we don't like. We are here to integrate the parts of us that we don't like and bring them into wholeness within ourselves, which is part of the theme of coming into wholeness in this lifetime. And this is what I was taught, we live lifetimes of being the perpetrator. We live lifetimes of then being the victim. And then we have lifetimes of coming into the wisdom, the healer, the sage. And all of us are always circulating around these. And we're not here to disown and reject the shadow within us. We are here to bring it into complete acceptance. And this helps us reclaim our power. If you think about us, we are the lotus flower that comes out of the mud. The shadow is the mud. We have to transmute it. We have to go through it. We cannot avoid it. We have to embrace it. But again, as I said, this chart is very, very delicate. So we do not go into it until we are ready. And there's some really grim things in here. There's hundreds and hundreds of shadowy energies in there. Yeah, pretty bad. Okay, and the last chart is one I mentioned earlier, abundance. We all want to be more abundant because abundance gives us safety. And we also recognize that our inherent nature is to be abundant, like nature is abundant. We are also here to receive. And a lot of us struggle to know our worth and to receive. And if you have 3s and 4s in your soul contract, your relationship with money may be challenging. It is for me. I have 3s in my soul destiny, a 12-3. And my relationship with money is directly related to my relationship with myself. And if you have 4s, it is learning to feel worthy of God's love, Source's love, the love of the divine, versus the 3 energy is learning to feel worthy to be seen, worthy to bring yourself out into the world and be rewarded for the value that you bring. And we have a ton of programs around money, not just ours. They also come from our parents who imprint on us, society, the scars on the soul from past lifetimes. And I'm sure if I read a couple of these out, vows of poverty that we may take, beliefs around self that create lack, beliefs, I don't know my purpose, a fear of love, I can't hold on to money, money is the root of all evil, that's a very well-known one, money is bad. So all these beliefs that we may not recognize are gripping us because they're invisible, but they are there. And lots of fears, fear of being rich, fear of relationships changing if you come into wealth, which is why a lot of people who win the lottery burn through their money within just a few years because it feels so unsafe for them to have it. Money is a really, really big thing for everyone. And again, this chart, everyone thinks, oh my God, I've got issues with abundance. I want to work on this chart. And I'm like, oof, but there's so many layers to go before we even come to this. And it's mainly about our relationship with ourselves. And then when we learn to relax, when we feel worthy of receiving, when we learn to lean back, when we learn to feel at peace with who we are and tons of different things, then the money, I believe, starts to come in. Again, I am no expert. I have done a few videos about abundance because I know it's not just about the surface level. There's so many energetics and emotions wrapped around this juicy topic. But those are my 5 hidden deep divine healing charts that I love it when they come up. So if you're curious, I'll put all the links below about what happens in a session. And until next time, I wish you a very beautiful rest of your day.